The Malian government is giving the Swedish ambassador 72 hours to leave the country. What's up, everybody? Hope you're doing good. It's a beautiful day. We're going to find out why it's a beautiful day. At least for the Malians, it is a beautiful day. So, the Malian government is like the Swedish. This is Mali. Beautiful place, lovely people, very hot, but yeah, very nice place to be. Very loving people, very respectful women, very cultural people, beautiful, colorful, you love it. You never been to Africa? Or even if you've been to Africa before, I think you should go have a look at Mali. Mali is very nice. So the Malian government has asked the Swedish ambassador to leave the country within 72 hours. Why? Because Sweden says Mali is supporting Russia. And because Mali supports Russia, Sweden shouldn't be giving Mali any fundings or any aid. So Malians have been benefiting from money coming from Sweden for many years, and Swedish people feel like Mali should not have the right to choose whoever they want to associate with, especially not Russians. The Swedish ambassador to Bamako has been summoned and ordered to leave the country within 72 hours because of a hostile statement by the Swedish minister. Mali's Ministry of Foreign Affairs says they cannot tolerate that. On Wednesday, August 7, Minister Fosser tweeted that it's impossible for Mali to support Russia's aggression against Ukraine while receiving millions of kroners in development aid. So Mali's been receiving money from Sweden, and Sweden say we cannot fund you if you support Russia. Therefore, we're not sending you money anymore. And Mali say, you know what? You can pack your stuff and leave. How about that? Sweden Minister of International Development, Johan Forsell, said on Wednesday that the government has decided to phase out aid to Mali due to its tier with Moscow. He said, you cannot support Russia's illegal aggression against Ukraine and at the same time receive money from us. It's unacceptable. So let's get back on track. Very easy. Okay, so Mali is a government, current government came through a coup d'etat. A coup d'etat, for those of us who don't know, is basically overthrowing the president, because when people are not happy, then they will find a way to kick out the president. It has happened many, many times in many countries, many different places. They overthrew the president because they felt the president wasn't necessarily working for the interest of the people. The president was very biased. Mali is a beautiful place. It was colonized by French for many years, like many other African nations, Burkina Faso, Guinea, Togo, Cote d'Ivoire, Gabon, Cameroon, colonized by French. With years, you will see their very similar attitude and way of being. It's very sad that they copied from the French. Yeah, they will mock you when you speak French in a way that is not very French. Yeah, they will really, really mock you. If you're speaking French with a bit of a mistake, if you write with a little bit of an error, they will mock you. They will question your intelligence because you forgot the S or a little T. It's insane. Like the colonialism in that area of Africa was just crazy. I even seen online one time French people mocking a German a nuclear engineer because she made a mistake writing in French. They question her capability, her ability to question unbelievable. How can you question a nuclear engineer because she's of German descent for writing a mistake in French? And that's very French, is the attitude. And yeah, Africans have copied that. And most Africans of French Africa don't speak their natural home language appropriately. They will speak, if you check the languages, in most cases, it's about 60% of the language is probably French. 40% is their language. So the native language, when they're speaking to you in their native language, they will use 40% of their native language and 60% in French. And for most of them, it feels like an upgrade. And I think this is very important that we talk about these type of things, because we're shifting away from who we are. How can you say you are an African if you cannot even, and some of them can't even speak their mother's tongue appropriately? Impossible. So in Africa, you get those languages that people speak in big towns. Okay, it's nobody's language. And then you get the language of your father from your village, from your town. Most of them speak the big language from the big city, but they cannot speak the deep language from their fathers. And many of them have never been to the village of their fathers. I'm just being honest with you. I don't know what the English did compared to what the French did was really horrendous when it came to erasing the culture, the mentality, the tradition of French-speaking Africans. Let's continue. So now we are in Sweden. Sweden say Mali cannot benefit from money coming from them because they are supporting Russia, and Swedish people are not about Russian life. Let me just remind you here that a few days ago there was an attack in Mali where many people were unalived. The attack was mainly on Russian soldiers. About 84 of them were unalived. They were supposed to be Wagner soldiers. Then later on there was a Ukrainian that claimed that Ukraine participated in this attack by providing intelligence to these attackers, and Mali was not happy about that.
The fact that the rebels received the necessary information that allowed them to conduct a successful operation against Russian war criminals, the whole world has already seen this. In principle, this can be commented on. We certainly will not disclose any details, but let's say there will be a continuation. This is sensitive information. Therefore, everything that Ukraine does is happening within the limits and within the framework of international law, taking into account all the necessary procedures.
How can you come in my country even though you have issues with Russians? Come unalive Russians in my country, and in the same token unalive my people. I have no beef with you. If you have issues with Russia, then deal with Russia or in Ukraine, not in Africa. Then the Malians cut ties with the Ukrainians because they thought this is unacceptable. And a few days later, Niger followed through. Niger is a sister country. Here's Niger. Here's Mali. Here's Niger. They follow through. They say, we cannot accept this. If you can come to an African country and do this, we as African will not tolerate this. And many people felt like many African nations should have also followed through by saying, Ukraine, what you've done is unacceptable. While many African countries did not react. And Nigeria was one of the countries that say this is shocking to see that other African nations are not reacting. They're not saying anything. Can you go to Europe and bombard a European country or unalive people, even though you're fighting an enemy that's living in Europe? And other European country just look at you? No, they wouldn't let that. They would not allow that. Now, this is not the first time Mali is being, or any other African country is being blackmailed with money. If you don't do things our way, we're going to cut the money we send you. This is not the first time. In 2022, France cut ties in terms of money with Mali. Grants provided by French development funding aid totaled about 470 million euros between January 2013 to September 2017, according to French embassy on Mali website. So according to French, they have spent about 470 million euros on Mali, on aid. So the question remains, why do Africans need aid? Why do you need to beg all the time? I don't get it. Thomas Sankara said you need to be strong. Thomas Sankara is one of the fighters back in the past, one of the freedom fighters, one of the most prominent freedom fighters. He was against asking for aid. He believed Africans could do things for themselves. He believed Africans were capable of ruling themselves, of finding ways to create. He promoted women into working. He promoted Africans buying clothes from African manufacturers. He promoted African buying food from African agriculture. The goal was to get Africa to be free. But they didn't like that. And he said, I'm not going to the World Bank or IMF asking for money because I'm not going to, the money that my country owes right now that I found, it's too much. We won't be able to pay it back. But I can choose not to pay it back. He was in a meeting with our president. If I don't pay back, you must not pay back either. Because if I don't pay back and you pay back, on the next meeting I won't be here. There will be me unalived.
Si le Burkina Faso tout seul refuse de payer la dette, je ne serai pas là à la prochaine conférence. Par contre, avec le soutien de tous, dont j'ai besoin,
he was right. Why do Africans need so much aid? Because this is a tool of blackmail. Whether Sweden is right or not, it shouldn't be, okay, because you don't do things our way, we're not going to give you money. We're going to let you suffer. No, why do you need them? Can't Malians choose for themselves who they want to be associated with? Should Malians always be told, like, ooh, this is your friend, you can deal with this one, not that one? Malians have been told, like, why are you supporting Russia? Okay, whether Russia is right or wrong, it's for the Malians to choose what they want to do. It's not for anybody else to say, okay, I have a higher moral ground and I'm going to tell you, you're either going to hate them or we're not going to give you money anymore. So Mali has reacted, say, okay, you can get the hell out of this place. Take your stuff and leave. Most African countries will go like, oh no, money. Because let's just be honest, many African countries, leaders are corrupt. They will love money more than they love the people. Honor doesn't mean anything. This is in the name of honor. We're not going to come to you crawling and begging for your millions. You can keep it. And by the way, your ambassador must take his stuff and leave as well. Let me know how you feel about this. Is this a good move by Mali? Do you think Africa is being divided right now? Because we feel like there's Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger that's moving in a different direction. They're not begging. They're not asking for help. They're not coming to you on their knees. They're standing up compared to the other African who are most likely still wants to be under a new form of colonialism. God bless.